Woo here, just letting you know that this week's episode's going to be a bit shorter, just because we kind of overran a little bit on this one. So we decided to split the episode into sort of 2 hour long segments, kind of focusing on different topics. This week's one's going to focus more on the commentary side, and then the next episode is going to be focused on more sort of mods within the community and kind of touching back on commentary a little bit. Just giving you a quick notice so you're not a bit confused when the guys just cut out randomly. But yeah, hope you enjoy regardless, and we'll see you all next time.
Welcome back, everybody, to Quality Check number 6. Yes, we've done 6 of these now, and again, we've got no Shulk here today, which is again, this is like 2 in a row at this point. So, all you Shulk players out there, go back to all your little burrows. No, I'm only joking. We'll have Soul Arts or Robbie on one next week. You watch. But I am joined, as always, by one of my good friends, Serenity. How are you doing, Serenity, today?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's been a while, I feel like. I haven't been on for a little bit, but I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, you were at what was it, Monday Meltdown? No, you were, and then
maybe?
you were at Grand Conquest as well. I think the week
I was
before
not at
that.
Grand Conquest.
You were not at Grand Conquest.
No.
I'm just busy generally, so not even Smash related. I'm just a busy
We've
guy.
gone off the rails already. Do over. I'm only joking. So Aaron's here again, and we've got another one of the greatest people in the Smash community. We've got the commentary connoisseur. We've got the Wii Fit wonder, and we've got the statistician supreme. We've got the one and the only Chakkie. Introduce yourself, Chakkie, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, so I've been doing a bunch of like stats stuff, just kind of like keeping track of events. I'm looking to expand that out to maybe Europe, but dear God, it's way harder than I thought it would be. I also do a lot of commentary. I did Grand Conquest recently. I was on the side stream. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun sets there. And yeah, the Wii Fit stuff, not being as active there, honestly. I kind of pivoted to like UK stats, but I did lab. I spent a lot of time labbing, and not just Wii Fit, but the game in general. So yeah.
Nice.
Honestly, I think Wii Fit lost their best labber, and they all just went downhill ever since. I know this happened since Chakkie's left.
You're joking, but seriously, it's not just me. It's a bunch of labbers kind of lost interest or became stats people, and now the Wii Fit meta, like there's technically room to push it, and there are like a couple people trying, but it's like dropped off a cliff a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like after 5 years, that's sort of what happens, isn't it, with those like mid-tier characters? But yeah, and then our last guest, my good friend, who's now no longer on the South Coast. He's buggered off back home to London-ish area. Beth Mewtwo UK plays Ridley and Sephiroth sometimes, and I have seen occasionally his Minecraft Steve, but you don't talk about his Minecraft Steve. It's the one and only Gris. So why don't you introduce yourself, Gris?
Oh, hello. Yeah, South Coast kind of sucks. So back in London now.
Ooh.
No.
I mean, after Monday Meltdown and Frontrunner 17, that is quite a bold statement. I'm just gonna say that.
I mean, just look at what you did to that one Frontrunners.
Ooh, it was not pretty. But
anyway,
anytime you want to come back to the better,
I was going to say that was a very interesting night for commentary. I think Mystic Eyes got a little bit tired towards the end.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know if they saw enough bow on and just. I
was about to say
it
was me solo coming Belmont Grand Finals. It was like,
rough.
But
you love to see it. But I mean, there was some fun stuff at that Frontrunners. Abu beat Trundle, which was like a really interesting one.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that. Yeah,
Saka,
that's kind of crazy.
Ozumanga, Dio, or whatever the current tag is for her.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that tag, and then I was like, "Who on earth is that?" And I saw King DDD and Brawler next to it, and I was like, "Oh, that's Trundle."
Yeah.
So yeah, she was down for I think it was a Guilty Gear Strive tournament the day after, and she was like, "I'm just going to enter." So But yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's fair.
Anything else you want to say, Gris, before we start? Kind of stole you.
Well, we was talking about it earlier. Just I'm working on a new mod. Just keep your eyes peeled, and if you want to keep track of the progress, just check out my Twitter, Griseous_SSB.
Yes, I mean, obviously, check us all
Yeah.
out on Twitter's.
Oh.
Links somewhere on the screen,
Somewhere on the
like
screen.
if you're on the
Up
YouTube.
there.
But yes, I mean, I really wanted to sort of think about this episode, and there's been a huge rise in commentary over the last, I would say, year or two. I think as the game started to begin, people were just like commentating for fun, off the back of Smash 4, and then we've sort of entered this period where like commentary is actually like big things now. We've got several commentators from the UK doing really, really well. You've got Copter, who obviously makes it over to America every now and then. You've got Joycey, you've got Focus Miss, you've got Smar, you've got Rekka, and then obviously Chakkie. So I just wanted to have a word with you, Chakkie, about what makes British commentary so good, and why are we on the rise when other countries sort of aren't really doing that? And just give us your thoughts and experiences, really.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting like how stacked British comms is. I think a lot of it was just kind of that post-lockdown vibe, and a lot of people just going to these different events, and I don't know, it's this weird blend. There's a lot of good commentators from a lot of different places in the UK, and they all bring something a bit different. And I think that, especially in the beginning of the sort of post-lockdown era, people were traveling so much that we saw a lot of commentators like come down and get tournaments here, and we'd all learn about each other, and we'd all learn from each other. And there was a big community in there as well. I still remember the like commentators breakfasts before certain events, which have kind of died down now, but they were a lot of fun, right? And that kind of helps you. I think that we do. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was at these commentary breakfasts. Were they sort of like commentating as the food was coming out?
Oh, I would have loved that.
The waitress with the perfect pivot.
Cooked to perfection.
Cooked to perfection.
Excellent technique.
Will she find the stock though? Ooh. But no, carry on.
Yeah, that'd be great. Honestly, Nut Roast would probably be great at that, I'm sure.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he probably would. He'd probably be pretty stellar at that. We've also had like more people like traveling into British events to commentate as well. I checked the Invasion lineup, and there was a couple of people from, I think it was one from South America and one from the States.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Quite good.
Yeah.
I know you
There's
get
also there's also like a commentator Discord. I don't know if that's still like active.
It is, yeah.
So I think that came up with over lockdown as well, and it was like it had people that were already commentators sort of helping other people get into it and get better.
Yeah, it was like 2021, I believe. It was like just sort of post, because there was a lot of people looking to kind of hit that commentary grind. It's where those breakfasts were organized, right? And for a while, there was a lot of tips and stuff shared there as well, and there's still a lot of great resources there to kind of learn from. And you'll still see people like Degala did it for a while, just kind of like hosting VOD review streams. Emmy used to do it a lot. Like hosting VOD review streams of their commentary, and we'd come in and we'd advise each other, because commentary is like very collaborative. When other commentators get better, at the end of the day, you benefit, right? Because you get more talent to kind of talk with and stuff like that. So it's that, and also kind of Regen has exploded in popularity recently, and VGBC being able to highlight a lot of our comms on VGBC ever since not just Meltdown, but even boss battles, and kind of put our names out there that way. That's where Fab's got his like proper big start. Remember, it was boss battles, and it was that crew battle with Humming that I can remember as being the first block where everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's just really, really good." So, and that's a big deal again because it's on VGBC, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get our commentary, because a lot of people do it at like regional events, but it's once you get to those major platforming sites like VGBC and the other ones, if you can make it to those big majors where you've got hundreds, thousands of people turning in, if you can get a commentary slot on that, and people start saying you're good, that's when you sort of make it. But it's just difficult to get there, from what I understand.
Yeah, it can be like kind of difficult. A lot of it is like about connections as well, and just like knowing the right people and that kind of thing, because it can really help you to know people who recognize your talent and are willing to kind of put you in and give you a shot. I know Asura, for example, he ended up building a decent connection with some American TOs, and like I think he got like a wave dash and a bunch of other slots there. So that kind of like increased his reputation a lot, because their events get a lot of viewership as well, right? And you know, he had more than enough talent to pull those slots off. So really great work from him, and he is coming back to the UK with a bang, actually, at Invasion as well, which I was really happy to see.
Nice.
Speaking of, I've just brought up the graphic from their Twitter account, and of course Azura is there, but I'm looking at this list as well, and I think there's only 2 names I don't really recognize: Combo and Snacks. I assume those are the people traveling in.
Yeah, I think Combo is States and Snacks is South America, if I remember.
Okay.
Mm.
Hang on.
It's either South America or Mexico. One of the two.
What's the flag, Gris?
Well,
Get
I'm
that.
looking at Snacks' Twitter. Yeah, that's Latin American.
Yeah.
Hang on. And I'm not sure about Combo yet, but
That's okay.
Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
Seattle. I have no
Cool.
idea where that is in America. But
That's
No, it's cool to see
Illinois.
people traveling over before. So.
you say the word Illinois, but that doesn't help me.
That doesn't help you either. No, I look, I'm only knowing that because I'm gonna start keeping track of a whole new category of PRs soon, and it's just too much.
Chackie's gonna have his finger in every single pie. Ask Chakkie.
I did not realize how many PRs Spain have. Do you go on Smash Bros Spain right now and check?
Oh dear.
You have no idea. Every municipality has a PR, and they're not always up to date on the website, so you have to go and like check yourself if you want the actual up to date. It's nutty. It's really cool though. They've all got like Twitter accounts and graphics and stuff, but it's a pain to track.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, like doing it for one country is enough, but let alone another one. But like
our website's pretty organized. Actually, it's quite impressive.
It is. It's really cool looking.
This is the part where Chakkie says he made it, and then they're like, "Ah,
no. I wish. I've not really. I've been meaning to like do a bit more coding stuff because I have some knowledge from my course, which is like a film and engineering course, and some of the coding stuff we learn is like mostly to do with like video processing and that kind of thing. But I have like a good understanding of like Python and stuff, so I'll see if I can get my hands on the the slightly controversial API that Start.gg have right now. That's better than it was, but still kind of bad.
fair enough." I mean, I think we come into that sort of later.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. I mean, like commentary wise, like I've got so many questions for you. Yeah, that's it. That's all right.
Go back to that.
It happens, you know. We'll take small detours even there, but you know what? In your opinion, Chakkie, so what makes a good commentator? Because I sort of used to do it at my local ones. I love commentating. I just not just describe what's on screen, but like I'm very much more of a focusing on players' habits and what they can do, what to look out for. But obviously, I'm quite a novice in terms of commentating. So, what makes a good commentator in your opinion? And if you're looking to get into commentating, what are the things you should be trying to do to sort of get into that path?
I think the number one thing is like telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the most kind of clear thing that you need to look out for, is that you need to have this like narrative in your head of the story that could happen in a set. I think something that's also a bit harder is being able to kind of make sets that aren't of a super high level interesting, which is something that if you want to do well in commentary, you kind of have to do, because the sets you're going to be given are pools. And you're not always going to get, it's not always going to be Rise, and you're going to have a quad stream and you can ignore all the sets that are boring. You have to like actually focus on the set that you have and provide something kind of entertaining out of it. Some other stuff like acknowledge the context that you're in. If you do have a pools block, you have to remember that the block that you have is a pools block. And so, sure, you can build these great underdog narratives, and if a big player loses, it's a really big deal. But if you're watching two mid-level players fight, you kind of have to acknowledge, like, the stakes here aren't as high as they would be in, like, a top 64 or top 32 set.
And how would you go about commentating that differently as opposed to, like, a top 8 set? So let's say you've got two mid-level players, they're fighting for like top 64 at or like top 32 at regional. They're like 25th and 17th seed, not expected to get too much faster. They're in losers. What changes commentary wise from there to like grand finals at Evo or something like that?
The amount of energy that you bring, to an extent, the professionalism that you have on the mic. You should always be like pretty professional. But if you're doing like the bigger stage you're on, and the more sort of corporate stage that you're on, you kind of have to have a different vibe. You can relax a bit more if it's more of like a if you're doing pools at a regional, as you said. You can kind of be a little bit more relaxed, have a bit more fun with your co-caster. And talk about the kind of broader narratives of the overall bracket. But the main difference, I guess, is kind of how loud you're going to be, the tension that you have in your voice. I feel like there's a desire from a lot of commentators to always be screaming and get the clip. I think that's something that you see in other esports, where the barrier to entry is a bit higher, is that you see a lot of the commentators there. They're really good at holding the tension in their voice, if that makes sense. They're really good at, like, for longer periods of time, because in other esports, the tense moments are a bit longer as well. If you're casting like CS, which I did for the first time recently, the actual like hype moments last longer. So you have to sit there and you have to hold that tension in your voice for a little bit longer. If that do you know what I mean when I say that?
I mean,
get what I mean?
Kind of. I mean, I'm imagining, let's say, it's top 8, that's last stock, not last hit, but they're sort of at like middling percents, and you're thinking, if one person hits somebody and they can get a ledge trap going, not immediately popping off, but like, they're at ledge, and then like just holding that level of energy until that big read comes, or the finals kill happens. Is that it? Or
that's kind of what you're talking about, like those moments just before the big moment. You can't be screaming all the time in build up. You have to like wait for that moment to kind of release and then go for it. You can still you can scream a little bit if you've built up to it for the whole set. I know with like Flow Kerbo, I did scream a bit. It just like when that last stock started to get people on side, and then you kind of wait and hold the tension a bit more. Part of that was because I wanted the crowd to pay attention. They were too busy looking at Soul Arts.
They chose Shulk over Kirby?
Well, Soul Arts was being blue on the other setup, but that set had like,
true.
I think it had just ended, and I was like, look over here, please, because I want the Scotland crowd, I want the hype.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean, they probably were looking at Soul Arts instead of Kerbo, and then obviously when they saw, they were like, where's our other boy? Oh, there.
Yeah.
So,
just screaming, Kerbo's one stock away from beating Flo, and then they're like, oh, wait.
Oh, hang on.
Hang on a minute. And that was a really fun set. Yeah.
I mean, just character-wise, just thinking that Kirby could ever beat somebody as experienced as Flo, but then you realise generally how good Kerbo is, and it's like, that makes sense. And as I was watching the set, it sort of made sense to me that Kerbo started thinking about it, and then just sort of not matchup inexperience because I know that Flo has got a pretty decent Kirby back home in the Night Pixel, but yeah, you could see. I don't know if you play Kerbo, you're like, I'm getting beaten by a Kirby, and then it feels weird because
It does feel weird.
you're like, it's
Well,
Kirby.
The
And you're
thing
like-
is, when Kirby works, he works,
He
and
works,
that's
yeah.
terrifying. He doesn't work very often. Well, he works like not often enough. But when it works, it really works, and it's really scary. And it kind of brings me over to I think one of the things I haven't mentioned yet, which is you don't have to be good to commentate. You don't have to be good at the game, but
Absolutely,
you should
yeah.
talk to people who are good at the game and build like a decent understanding of it.
Yeah.
Something that helped me in that set was the amount of people I talked to at Brink about Kerbo, which is like I remember Georges saying like people think of Kerbo as this like very aggressive player, but that's only because he has to get in. In reality, he has like one of the best defenses out there, and he just kind of waits for you to come to him because he knows he can force that. Which is like a really good thing to bring out in that set. And Kerbo's like, he's really composed as well. Sometimes in your analysis, you have to be a bit more emotional with it if you want to tell, like, you want people to resonate with it, even if they don't really understand the game. So if you can bring up how composed a player is, or whether or not a player is nervous, and you don't even need face cam to spot that really, then you can kind of build that narrative for the average viewer without and still do analysis, but without necessarily relying on like in-game terminology that's kind of difficult to get.
I mean, I commentate. I was fortunate to commentate with Joycey back in Battleborn, which is a Bournemouth regional, and Joycey's good at the game. He's obviously not like super top level, but Joycey's good at the game. They know what they're doing. Yoshi is good.
They are pretty good, yeah.
And they were just sort of like just picking up things that I was struggling to pick up. And we were both commentating, and they were picking up things a lot quicker. And I turned to them, and I was like, "Why don't you just do this in game?" And they were like, because when I'm commentating, I don't have to also play as well. I can spot patterns, I can spot mistakes, and I can spot how the general flow of the game is going. And I think because they play Smash, that obviously gives them another good level of understanding, because they can see what good things are, what bad things are that each player is doing, and then they can sort of give a little bit of extra insight to the players who are at home who might not have that understanding. I think when we talked about we were commentating Aaron and Boat actually, and we just noticed that Boat wasn't hitting up tilts, and we were like, Boat's not hitting up tilts, Boat's not winning, and Joycey was spot on that. I mean, it was mid game 2, Boat was losing, and they just said they're not hitting up tilts, and they're not winning because of it. And it's just such a uniquely insightful commentary, just watching two players, and the amount of depth that they go into, whilst also, like you said, bringing that energy and bringing that hype is next level. And yeah, I make the mistake where I commentate to just focus on numbers and figures. I'll be like, that back air is -3 on shield, can't punish that. But with that, you sort of lose. It becomes more, I feel, robotic, because you're taking a game that's fair enough about numbers and things, but you're sort of minimalizing it to, that back air is safe on shield, or that forward smash is going to get punished because it's not safe on shield, etc., etc. So I think that was something that was really hard for me to sort of deal. And when I watched Joycey and how they did it, that's something that sort of stood out for me when commentating.
Yeah, and something I learned from them as well is they're really fast at like summarizing that.
So fast. They speak. Yeah.
I wasn't for a really long time. A lot of you know this, and it was like a bit of a problem at Brink, especially, where I would spot these, and Brink was a bit different because it's a quad stream, so you don't get as long to talk. Or when you do get to talk, you get to talk for longer almost, but like you hand off and then you don't talk for a really long time. But for for that kind of environment, I remember that I was like spotting these interactions here and there that were like kind of weird, and I would like dive into it, and I would just take too long, and something interesting would happen on screen otherwise. You've got to be really, really fast when you're doing analysis, and you've got to find a way to summarize the point you want to get to really, really quickly. Depending on the set, there are some sets where you can absolutely just go into detail, and if you want to do that, you can go ahead. But something that you really need to work on as a that I would recommend everybody work on as a commentator, sorry, is just if you're going to do analysis, you need to do it quickly. And summarize it in a way that's really, really easy to understand. This player isn't hitting up tilts. This player is like has a really good understanding of Luigi grab range or whatever, right? That's kind of the important. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say I can imagine that's easier, and like if you got a slow-paced game with two, campy characters, easy. You got all the time in the world to dump exposition if it's me, Gunner, and Samus, because like that game's like 5 minutes long anyway. Whereas if you've got Giggles on the screen or like these aggressive like Cassius who are taking a stock in 20 seconds, you've not got time to say, it's just electric or like nair one knee, and it's like, well, I've got no time to like. I just have to summarize really, really quickly. So yeah,
you have to make your points really fast. That's like one of my favorite sets from recently that I've done was with Rosa for Limitless, and it was Luigi versus Arch Nemesis.
I remember the one. Yeah.
That set, those sets are always so fast. They're always so fast. So every bit of analysis you have to put in has to be really, really quick. And I was happy with the fact that I was able to kind of transition from that analysis to that play-by-play in a really fast way. And Rosa was also like very in sync with me in that set, especially. Great block, and Rosa's a great commentator, by the way. I love that block. Yeah, so that's something you really have to keep in mind. It's something that London did kind of teach me towards the end, because London has decided to like hold forward hard recently, and every London event is like finishing on time, even if Grands is like Rise Grands was game 10 and it still finished dead on time. Because it's just like Luigi holding us down and getting the kills, and like Pelly obviously isn't really here as much. Robbie
there's only one
is like
Robbie.
the only one. Yeah, there's only one Robbie. Even the other Shulks, they're actually pretty aggressive compared to Robbie, at least.
They don't hold back. No, they don't play defensive quite like Robbie does. It's quite surprising and jarring.
Yeah, I mean, like different. It's really. It must also like Gris said. It must also be like really difficult to commentate players who just have such very play styles from one another, because if Robbie's all you've seen and all you've commentated, and that's your point of reference for show. I'm not dumping on Robbie. I'm just saying and then you go and find somebody else who's like a more aggressive show. Like it must be like really difficult to just sort of readjust your commentary to be like, okay, well, this show's nothing like I've seen before. I've got to come up with a brand new commentary style to do that. Is that how that works, or?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of the advantage of labbing for me, because I have like a decent understanding of most characters' options and what, like, when you lab the game enough, you realize that no characters are really that linear, and the ones that are all bad. So you don't really have to think. You just kind of think of the options a character has and the different playstyles that they can have, and you kind of have to acknowledge, like, okay, well, this is how this character presses forward, and this is how they don't. And that's kind of the advantage you get from, because especially during lockdown, my Wii Fit stat zero was very different, and there was a lot of labbing going on. So that's kind of how, like, in the beginning of my commentary career, I guess, I was like very, very analytical, and I would take too long sometimes, but I'd always have these different points to say. Which I guess is the only thing I haven't mentioned yet, is like, have an idea of the kind of commentator you want to be. Generally, you have to be good at everything. You do. But if you want a place to start, you should think about the kind of commentators you want to emulate or the kind of commentary that you want to have. Like what value do you want people to get out of it? And then kind of work on that stuff first. But in general, you do have to be good at everything. If you can't do fighting games are unique in the sense that if you can't also do play-by-play, you're kind of screwed, because there are going to be situations where you have to transition into that. So again, you have to be good at everything, but pick one or two things to be good at first, and they can be whatever.
So you say you have to have sort of an idea of what sort of commentator you want to be. Who would you say is like your main inspiration when it comes to commentating?
A lot of commentators actually draw inspiration from things outside of Smash, which is a lot of fun.
All right. Okay.
So
Not
what do you mean?
I
Not
was
naming
gonna say,
names.
You're not going to name somebody.
I'm not naming names because I can't remember them. But like, it's a
Oh, you
very
can't.
common thing. Like, like Galaxy. Not even just Galaxy, Not Roast, a bunch of commentators. They all take inspiration from like wrestling commentary. Even like
Okay.
Coney does this, right?
Yeah.
Which is like a really fun and like interesting way to talk about it, and it's a great way to look at Smash because Smash is a Looney Tunes game. It really is.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
kind of approaching it with that like wrestler energy does help a lot, and it's a really good vibe to have. I'd say.
Sorry, I was going to say, so the person that you drew inspiration from was outside the Smash community. Have I got that right?
I was gonna say like I have like a bunch of influences. Some of it was like football commentators in like a weird
Okay.
way. I like the way that they do play by play because it's a little bit more subtle, I guess, than what you see in like they kind of let moments breathe a lot, and you can't really get away with it to the extent that you want to in a fighting game because the game is so much faster and the moments happen more often, and the crowd isn't as allowed to kind of hear the reaction. But I like the kind of like I like the wordplay that a lot of them do as well. If you ever listen to like Peter Drury is great, and I've heard him on like Sky Sports before, and if like one of my favorite lines from him is Mohamed Salah is through on goal, and he's like Mohamed Salah, Mohamed Salah, Mohamed Salah, and then he misses, and he's like is humid, and I was like that's fucking perfect.
That is a good line.
I like that.
That is a really good like cover for missing the most.
And like being able to adapt your commentary on the fly is like a really good thing to kind of have, and it's something that takes a long time to learn as well. And the other stuff is just honestly like I really enjoyed doing VOD review, and I wanted to bring the kind of analysis that I brought in what at the time was mostly Wii Fit VOD review to like broader audience through commentary. So that's where a lot of like the focusing on like niche interactions and stuff came from, because I still part of this is still in me where I just do want to learn all of the like gimmicks so that the tutors watching can be like, oh, he knows
He knows.
he knows the banjo gimmick, look at him. Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy to me because I've never thought that outside commentary could ever affect Smash. It's just something that's never come across my mind. Like obviously I watch a lot of football. Go Portsmouth FC. But never have I thought that an outside commentator from something like football or wrestling could ever impact somebody in Smash. Like that concept, it makes sense now you're telling me.
But it's like weird.
It's so weird.
And I mean, part of it is also like a lot of commentators who probably, if you look at Coney for comms, and I think Coney is really good at like talking about the headspace of the game as well, which is something that I wanted to do more later on. Just like the emotional state of the players and that kind of thing, because it's something that he was like more qualified to do. But even he is like, again, his influences, according to him, are like wrestler energy, which I think is great. And so the chances are the commentators that you're looking at are probably taking inspiration from people outside of fighting games entirely to like have fun with it. You can even see like I can see us like the like Valorant / CS caster in Asura when he's commentating. Does that make sense? I love it, by the way.
Kind of do, yeah.
So, like, I was talking about holding the tension in your voice. That's something that COD and like Valorant and CS people do way more, or like League as well. Again, because the plays are actually like longer. So,
Now
and
that you
he's
mention
really
it,
good at that.
Now that you mention it, I do seem to recall he commentated exactly like that at Resurgence, like a couple years ago, I think. I just seem to recall he had exactly that sort of style when he was commentating.
Yeah, it's great. It's the reason that you remember off season where like those COD commentators were doing commentary and people were like, "Oh, this is so hype. We should have commentary like this."
Oh my
And
god!
in reality, right? Those people are kind of stupid. But the thing that they did point out is that there is such a thing as commentator fundamentals, and there are things that COD commentators practice more because of the game that they have to commentate that translate really well into a game like Melee. And again, it's just like being able to convey the amount of tension in a specific moment without necessarily having to scream, and then you kind of buy into the hype because you know they're feeling it.
Yeah, to talk about that one example, just from off season, there was one commentator who had that sort of approach when they were watching that set. Just like their voice would like raise up a bit, like as someone took control of the match. But then there was the other commentator who I'm pretty sure only said "be his ass." That was the only thing they said when Captain Falcon got the grab. But
Look, and that's funny.
Yeah, it is. But you can see that there's potential in that sort of approach. Just I don't know. It's pretty clear that maybe there's just like the Melee commentators just weren't there on time. They were just doing their best.
Yeah.
I think it was like a deliberate bit at some point to just
Really?
have that. I think so, because off season you have to remember is not like a serious event. It's like it's an event where I think it wasn't Brinstar. What was legal? It might have been
Was it
Brinstar. It was
Mute City?
Brinstar and Mute City. Mute City was like legal, you know what I mean? Like the point of the event is to be in the off season. It's not really supposed to be taken as seriously, right? So I think that they just kind of had that on for a bit of a laugh, and it was a lot of fun, to be fair. And you can be a bit more relaxed and talk about that. You know, some of like the more famous calls in traditional fighting games are like that. There's like a call from way back when, from like MVC2, that's really famous, of a guy commentating. I can't even remember, some Marvel character with an amazing mustache, and that guy was just like, "He's so Pringles." Great line.
Is that the cactus one?
I think so. I can't remember it. I'm gonna be real. I barely remember it.
I mean, everybody knows like the iconic Melee. The thing, you know that's not Falco. Everybody
Yeah.
knows the wombo combo. I mean, Aaron, have you got any like favorite commentators or commentary moments, or what do you
I like Rodney, like US commentator. I really like him a lot, and I remember he commentates. I think he's commentating. Which set was it? I can't remember. But another one of my favorite moments is I actually like Arbiter's comms quite a lot because I think it's quite funny.
Is that the guy Twitter is like hating on because it's got too much energy?
Yeah. He's like a very like shouty commentator, and I can see why some people might not like it or whatever. I don't really care. I think it's funny sometimes. And there's like this clip of I can't really remember who specifically he's playing. But I think Cola's playing as well, and it's like a shield break, and he's just like shouting, and it's so funny. Like he's just yelling into the mic, peeking it.
I was gonna say, do you want to say what he was shouting?
I don't think I can say what he's shouting.
Do not.
It is.
Sayonara.
That clip is so good.
I mean, it's interesting. Have you, and obviously, like you do this, Chakkie, but obviously, I watch a lot, and Chris and Aaron, you probably watch a lot of like Smash in general. Like, what makes commentary interesting for you? Because like not that we can help you out, Chakkie, but I'm like, if you can get some like market research or something from just people who just watch, like Aaron and Chris, like what makes commentary like engaging for you? Like if you were to turn on and it's super hype Cloud versus Roy, Spargo versus Cola, what must the commentary do to like keep you? What do you want from the commentary, really?
Like I think you need like Chakkie sort of like talked about it already, but like where you need like a good balance between like having like these tense moments and holding tension, and then also like analysis, but like you can't let the analysis be too long, otherwise like you kind of lose interest, or like I'll lose interest if I'm watching. If someone's talking about like, I don't know, like a specific interaction or like frame data or something, and it goes on a bit too long, sometimes it's a bit like oof. But like, yeah, I think changing up a lot, like you were saying earlier as well, with like Joyce's like really fast. Like I think that's like really good because that just keeps my like attention there. My like TikTok brain is still engaged on this set, sort of thing.
On my end, I think it's there's a bunch of different factors that I take into sort of consideration whenever I'm just watching a set, and whether or not I take interest in the comms or just listen to my own stuff on my own end. Obviously, I appreciate all the work that UK commentators put in. Obviously, that each and every one of them, they're talented in their own way. So of course, anytime they're on, you know I'm going to be listening to them. But if I had to pinpoint one thing that I look for when it comes to commentators, I really like it when commentators they focus on like the emotional aspect of the players that they're watching and commentating on the screen currently. Just talking about how one wants to win a set, how one looks frustrated, just one that's able to pick out small nuanced parts. Just that's pretty much it. Just emotional aspects. I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah, like the whole like telling a story part is like really important as well. So it feels like it adds like stakes to sets that might not have stakes if the commentators are like doing a good job, sort of like making a story out of it or whatever. Like stuff like that makes it more engaging, like than just watching the game with no like if it was just like the game sound, then it like it I wouldn't be able to watch it, you know.
Yeah, like that's like the most important part is telling a story. And having like talking about the emotional states of the players is like the most important part to telling that story. And it's also analysis, and you can kind of bring it into the hype as well. Because like we talk about analysis and play-by-play as if they're different, and you need an awareness of when to go from one to the other, but you can do both at the same time sometimes. And that's when you hit like the sweet spot. Yeah.
Just to wrap this sort of little topic up, because this has been really interesting. You have two commentators to commentate your favorite set, no matter who they are or where they are. They get together. Which two commentators are you picking to commentate your favorite set, and why? Throw it open. They don't have to all be British. They can be American and British. They can be whatever.
Well, that's a hard
That's
one.
a hard
That's a hard one.
hard.
I'll give you.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll give you two categories. Okay, I'll give you the sort of American, more mainstream commentary category, which I think would probably be Coney and. Oh, I'm not sure. Probably Coney and TK. Maybe EE. Maybe do the tricast, because I think that's like a classic. A classic, like EE definitely brings a lot of fun energy, but I think Coney and TK is like the main pairing, where they're both just kind of great. They're both really aware of the kind of vibe, and also like They have like Coney has a very fun brand of analysis that I think is pretty good. In terms of British, my favorite set. You know what? I'll have Galaxy and Slap because I love casting with both of them, and I think that they also have really great chemistry together. Slap is someone that like I've loved watching his journey as well because I kind of helped get him into commentary at the very beginning where he wasn't really near that many weeklies or locals, and I remember do you know Likely to Lose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so
That was-
his friend who got him into the scene, and I would play Yuzu with Likely to Lose because we both had uni Wi-Fi. We couldn't play Smash Online, and also like Yuzu was better anyway. So I remember playing Yuzu with Likely to Lose and him asking me about how he has this friend whose tag is likely to win. Phenomenal, by the way. Who wanted to get into commentary, and so we got him in on EU Bootcamp a bunch, and we just kind of grinded those together because we both weren't super near any tournaments. And from there, he's kind of like progressed a lot, and he's done really, really well in his commentary. And some of my favorite blocks that I've had have been with him as well, like the big one block. Oh my god, phenomenal. So yeah, I think those two both have really great energy. I think they have really great chemistry together. I think they can make literally any set entertaining, which is a really powerful quality. Yeah. Well, those are the two.
Aaron or Gris?
Nice.
Any?
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with like Coney and EE or like Coney TK, like similar there. Like it's just like classic, you know. It's just like a classic combo for Smash comms. It's so good. And then if I was gonna do like British ones, I'd have like probably Fabs and Focus Miss. Although I don't,
Ooh, yeah.
I can't remember if I've actually seen them commentate together. But
they did it Rise.
Oh,
if you want it, they did it Rise. So
oh yeah, I didn't
go
really watch
check
much
out
of
Rise top 8.
but yeah, no, I'd probably go for them.
I mean, I was at the venue, so I haven't watched the top 8 on stream yet, but I'm sure they had a great block together. They like those styles complement each other really well.
Oh, but then I need Joycey as well. Oh, it's so hard. No. Oh, okay. I don't know.
Make a TriCast next time.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, maybe. Maybe. We haven't really had like Regen have experimented with TriCasts a few times. It's a massive pain to get working, to be fair, so I don't blame them. So yeah, I can't think of anything like we had TriCast for like New Era. I think for some sets at Regen, and obviously Brink was 4 and sometimes 5 casters. So yeah,
that sort of thing is really cool though. I always like the like summit like.
It's a great vibe.
I mean, Summit comms are a little bit different from everything else, aren't they? Because you literally just have 4 or 5 people on a couch, and it feels like, it doesn't feel like a tournament, but it is a tournament. So you've just got 5 guys just chilling out, and they're like, "Oh, let's just watch this." And it ranges from super serious commentary to "He died at 0."
Meanwhile,
it's a bit more relaxed.
Meanwhile, 2 people are playing the most important set in their lives in the other room. Like,
playing for the biggest prize pool in Smash history, but also the commentators behind.
What about you, Gris?
I'm going to sound totally original by saying this, and I'm going to say Coney, TK, definitely up there. Like, as far as American casters go, anyway. British, gonna have to echo Aaron and say Fabs and Focus Smiths as well. Just in general, Fabs, absolutely fantastic commentator, and I'm impressed that he's gotten so many gigs in the in America as well. Just it's so cool to see him all the way out there. And for Reunion 2, actually, I've said this a bunch, but sitting by him and Yabuki as they commentated top 8, that was amazing. Just it's like, obviously I tried to chime in like a couple times if they were like lacking on like some knowledge, but just the way they commentated was
Yes, it's so
Yeah,
smooth, like when you're
Feeling.
experienced as well, isn't it? Like, it's insane.
Fubuki is like definitely up there as like a commentary pairing as well. They've got such good chemistry with each other. So yeah, really really great stuff. I like that. I like that we're seeing a lot of people picking a London only commentary pairings. No comment, no comment. But
Did I say the tag wrong? Yabuki, or is it?
it's Yabuki, but the
Like with
pairing
Fabs,
is Fabuki
yeah.
because it's yeah.
Yabuki, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, I think another American combo I would like have would be like Max and Rodney. That would go hard too.
Yeah, those
That's like
they
another
go quite
staple
hard
one.
together.
Yeah.
I get that. I
Who
think
you
for
haven't
like
done?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know I'm gonna be so? I don't much listen to comms when I mean I listen to them because they're on there, but I'm more interested in just what's happening in the game rather than thing. I don't know. I mean, like
Lame.
commentating with Joycey. I just like commentating with just regular people. Like, do you know? Every time I go to a regional in the south, I volunteer to comms, and I'm always doing a block with just some random person, you know, who's in the scene. I love it because we have no idea what we're doing. Professionally, I do like Joyce's comms. I think they are really, really good at what they do. I'd love to see them more. I also quite like Fortune. I think she's very good at what she does. You know, not least because I don't know if they play the game at all, but you know, to commentate and the way that they do is really really good, and I find them quite good actually. So I'd like to see Fortune and Joycey. They might have already done it, but yeah, those two.
I think they might have done it at a regen event, but you're right. Like Fortune is like Sadie's criminally underrated.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel
Criminally
like
underrated.
Fortune's so underrated.
Really good. I mean, a lot of it is just like inactivity for other reasons. So we haven't really seen her for a while, but really, really great commentator. Amazing commentator.
Okay, so once again, hope you enjoyed this week. The schedule will be as normal, just these episodes are going to be a bit shorter. But yeah, hope you enjoy next week's episode where Gris, Chakkie and Aaron all in, and Tom obviously continue their conversation. I'll see you then.